Hi guys, it's Sandy here from Salmon Fishing Holiday Scotland, and this is your weekly Scottish salmon fishing roundup. So we'll have a wee think about what the weather's been doing, and then look ahead to the weather forecast for the next few days. We'll also look at where has been catching fish in Scotland and where there's some availability, just in case some of you want to fish in the upcoming days and the run up to Easter. Um, and then also have a think about, potentially what could happen based on the weather forecast. So, what's been happening with the weather? Well, when is this sunshine going to end? It's been so bright, so dry. There's been really minimal rainfall, I would say, in March and April. I'm looking out my window here in Perthshire, and there is not a cloud in the sky. And as we all know, that's not great uh, weather for salmon fishing. But it's Mother Nature, and there's nothing we can really do about that. But there is some good news on the weather front. So far over the last couple of weeks, there's been a big high pressure that's been situated right across the UK, and that's been bringing all this really dry, settled weather. It's been cold in the mornings, quite frosty, but on some days there's hardly been a cloud in the sky. However, it looks like, looking at the weather forecast, that this is set to end this weekend. So on Sunday, potentially it could be a sort of transition day. So there is going to be some more cloud and some showers on Sunday. And then next week, the high pressure is moving away, and there's going to be an area of low pressure situated over the country, and that's going to bring some showers and longer spells of rain. So hopefully this will lead to a lift in river levels on some rivers, because some rivers desperately need a lift in water. But if nothing else, if the rain doesn't come too much, at least if we get some cloud and some dull days, then hopefully that will help with the fishing, because it has been really quite tough. Low water combined with bright, sunny, cloudless skies makes things really difficult, as we all know. So, what's been happening around the country over the last few days? So if we start up in the Highlands, so I'm gonna be at risk of sounding like a broken record, because all I'm gonna go on about is low water, but unfortunately that's what we've got. So yeah, the rivers like the Thurso, the Naver, the Oikel, the Helmsdale, they've been producing the odd fish, but the water has been so low. Many of these rivers do rely on a bit of water because they're spate rivers in the Highlands, but yeah, the water's been really low, and it's been tough. It's been really tough. I think as soon as there is a lift in water, then I think sport could definitely improve, but that's what everyone's sort of hoping for in this region. In terms of like availability, when the water's low on the likes of the Helmsdale River, they've got some a really nice angling association water, which is like just above the estuary. So fish can build up in there. So if you're in the area, definitely, if you're wanting to throw on the Helmsdale, then definitely the angling association water could be worth a cast, especially in light of the fact that the water has been low for so long. There might be the odd fish holding up there. Moving further south, again, sorry for sounding like a broken record, but if you look at rivers like the Findhorn, again, there's been the odd fish caught on the Findhorn towards the bottom end of the river. But again, river levels are extremely low, desperately in need for a lift in water, and hopefully, if the weather forecast is accurate, there will be a lift in water in the next few days. Again, just like the likes of the Helmsdale on the Findhorn, there's some lovely association water again towards the bottom end of the river, and that's always worth a cast, especially next week if river levels do remain low and there's some cloud cover. So moving on down to the River Spey. So yeah, again, conditions have been really tough. Water has been on the low side, especially for the time of year. There's been the odd fish being caught from beats like sort of Rothes, Arundel, Delpher and Orton. But again, further up the river, they are struggling with the low water. Hopefully there will be a lift in water soon. There's two really nice association beats. Well, there's a number of nice association beats on the River Spey, but the Granttown Angling Association beat is some nice has some nice fishing. It offers fishing on the Spey as well as the Dulnane. and that might be worth a cast if you're looking to wet a line and you're in the area there over Easter. And also the Aberlour town water as well. The association water there is lovely fly water. And again, if you're wanting to have a cast, that's easily accessible and worth the cast. There's also some rods available on beats like further down the river, on beats like the sort of Gordon Castle water, as well as further up and up near Aberlour at Delaguile, and Delaguile's always worth a cast. Moving on to the River Dee, well, just like everywhere else, the Dee's struggling with a lack of water. Again, it's been really bright, wall-to-wall sunshine. This week there has been the odd fish caught off the river, so beats like Dess and Dinnet further upriver, so well above a Boyne, have produced, further up the river have produced the odd fish. Again, I think the Dee's desperately in need of water, and could do with a good lift. There's good availability on the Dee next week, so beats like Crathis, Bankery, even Park have rods available, so there's no shortage of availability. And I think if there is a lift in water, then it'll definitely be worth the Dee, will definitely be worth the cast. Moving on to the Tay, it's been quite tough going on the Tay in recent days. The one thing you can say about the Tay, it's probably never too low that fish can't run, and there is enough water on the Tay that the fish can still run. Whether they choose to do so or not, not quite sure. We've fished on the Tay for a few evenings and not seen an awful lot, but that doesn't mean to say that there aren't some numbers of fish running. In terms of like catches, so they've been quite sort of well spread. The Isle of Mouth beat continues to produce the odd fish. There was a lovely fish caught at Cargill this week. There's also fish caught at Murthley and at the Dunkeld beats. And also on the River Tummel, which is one of the Tay's main tributaries, the Portnacraig beat at the dam, that produced some fish as well earlier this week. So yeah, I think maybe not so much the height of water, but actually the conditions, the overhead and the atmospheric conditions, and maybe hinging or maybe impeding catches on the Tay. But hopefully if we get a bit of cloud cover and maybe even a bit of rain, then catches will pick up. Again, there's some decent availability next week on beats like Newtile, Kercock, Delvane and Burnbane, and also the Murthley beats, as well as plenty others. And some of these are really sort of famous beats. And if you're in the area or you're visiting Perthshire, then absolutely, why not have a cast on the Tay? Finally, we move down to the Scottish borders, last but not least, the River Tweed. And again, on the Tweed, river levels have been really quite low, bright overhead conditions. Again, like the odd fish has been produced, mostly on the lower and bottom river. So beats like Lower Burgem and Tweed Hill have produced the odd fish. I think the Tweed's desperately in need for a good lift in water, and hopefully that'll come in the next few days. In terms of availability, there's decent availability on the Tweed, and with it being sort of low water, any beat sort of below sort of Coldstream Bridge, so your likes of like Ladykirk, and likes of like Tweed Hill, Milne beats like that, Tillmouth, they could definitely be worth a wee cast. Once there is a lift in water, then there's a chance there'll be a reasonable run of fish that enter the river, and then your beats above Kelso, between sort of Kelso, so between sort of lower floors and Woolside, that area, that middle section of the river, should start to produce fish on a consistent basis. So there you have it, guys. That's the Scottish salmon fishing roundup for this week. Let's all hope that we get a change in weather, and it is forecast, so fingers crossed that this happens and there are a few fish caught, few more fish caught next week, and conditions improve. So tight lines to everyone that's going out for a cast in the next few days. May your rods be buckled.